Good evening, hello, I'm Zarganat and welcome to my studio. So, hidden behind this, but what can you do? You want to see what I'm doing? I want to see what I'm doing. We both get to... Right, important things first. Cup of tea. It's only my second drink today, so it's probably a good idea. Excuse me. Oh yes, that reminds me. Right, pyrography machine. Pyrography machine. Turn that on, that's a hard word to say. Painting with heat. My machine with which I can paint with heat. That's a bit easier to say. You know what? I've done those ears black like that. But I'm going to do the background black. Which is interesting then, because it means that you won't see any of that. Why is that flickering like that? Bad connection. If I was going to review this machine, which I possibly will do at some point, that would be the one thing which I find not as good about it. Now, whether or not anywhere another machine is any better, I don't know. That I can't say. But it's the one thing I don't care about this machine is the socket that's in there. The contacts just rely on the metal being squeezed, if you like, and over time, especially when you change pens, the metal relaxes back. Doesn't make as good a contact, which means you waste heat, actually, you waste power in this connector, because if it's not got a good contact, it's got resistance. That resistance means it heats up. So you lose heat, if you like, there instead of at the tip. And they're not a connector that's fantastically easy. I mean, I don't know if you saw me then, but I was having to use a scalpel down the end to tweak the contacts to sort of squeeze them in a bit. Outline. Time to outline, I think, as I'm going to be making this background black. Now, the useful thing, I guess, to all intents and purposes, this is going to be a straight line. By which I mean something different to what I just said. By saying a straight line, what I mean is I'm not going to be needing to have a wavy line. Now then, I'm going to try a whisker here. I'm going to try it as a negative space whisker rather than scratching it out afterwards, I'm going to try and leave the board white. So I'm totally guessing as to where I want this whisker. In actual fact, I suppose what I can do is do something like that. So this is the black whisker that's actually white. And it's that way just because of the light reflection. Okay, so that's not working yet. Right. I thought it's perfectly true. I was just looking at the viewer count on my stream deck. It says 0, which is quite obviously true. Now on the other side of the tiger, I don't have the same problem. I have a similar problem, but not the same problem. Well, I don't have the same problem because the whisker doesn't actually come out past the edge of the body. But that means the whisker is... I can do... Yeah, the white whiskers are on the body. So just trying not to let the gap close. And now we probably want another one around here. Now these are white, so I'm wondering whether or not. No, we'll just do that one. The others are a bit grey. What I'll do is I'll scrape them out. So what we'll do is after the background is finished, or basically after the whole leopard is finished, we'll use a sharp pointy object like a scalpel. Now I can work quite hot with this. I don't want to work too hot. Choosing how hot you want to work is interesting. It's part of the skill, and it really how hot you want to work comes down to really how fast you want to work. because that's what pyrography, painting with heat, is all about, the quantity of heat, not the absolute temperature as such. Because the colour the wood changes to is determined by the quantity of heat. Now I'm sure there's a measurement for that, but is it joules? Not sure. Kilowatt hours, watt hours, something like that. Something times a time, or per time. Because if I have the temperature lower and I want a dark colour, I have to hold the pen in place for a longer period of time than if I have the pen hotter. Now degrees isn't a measurement of quantity, it's a temperature, but I could have, let's say, a pen at 150 degrees and it takes me 10 seconds to make something go black, or I can have it at 250 degrees and it takes me 3 seconds for the pen to go black. Or 4 seconds, let's say. Something like that anyway, you know, as an idea, you know. I'm sure the quantity is linear, in which case it would be sort of 10 seconds at 100 degrees, or 4 seconds at 250. You know, it's that sort of thing. The quantity is broadly similar. It's not actually the same, I don't think. I think the hotter the pen, the more rapidly the wood does actually change. So it's not quite a linear relationship, but it's that sort of idea. And good evening, Wolfie. Welcome, thank you very much for joining this evening. Nice to see you. I've put a black outline around these ears, and this evening I've just realised I've got to make the background black. Actually, I may just make it this really dark brown. That way the black stands out just a little bit. Now that's a good idea. Wonder why I didn't think of it. So what I want here is this is night. I mean, the name of the piece already, Out of the Night. So the night is featureless, and that's what I want this background to be, featureless. So smooth. Now initially here what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to do an outline. I'm not going to go too far, but I do want to basically coat the whole of the background. And what I'm going to probably do is use a technique. This is a technique called scrubbing. Effectively I'm making lots and lots and lots of passes over the wood, but because I'm doing it fairly quickly, only small increments of heat are being passed into the wood, and the temperature and the colour changes relatively slowly, so I can control it. It also is a lot smoother that way because I don't get sudden black blobs. Although having said which, when you scrub, you stop at the end of each scrub, left and right, and that's where the potential for black blobs comes in. When you stop, it's not so much while you're moving, but when you stop. So it's a Monday. It's Monday, isn't it? Yeah, it is Monday. I've not been working today. Well, I have been working, but not at work. Moving lots of things again still. You know what? Oh, yes, I was just trying to think how the thought came to me then. I was just thinking, if there's anybody watching the stream who plays Euro Truck Simulator, I was wondering whether there was a Christmas event this year. And I was thinking, how on earth did that cross my mind? And the way it crossed my mind was I was thinking, what did I do last Christmas? Well, for a couple of days I played Euro Truck Simulator in an afternoon because there was and the Christmas event came from that. I wonder if Twitch are getting a bit clever with their algorithms for watching. It used to count my own me streaming the video back at myself, and I think it's not doing that anymore, or at least not tonight. Since it's now telling me there's one person watching, and that would be you, Wolfie. Assuming you're still here, that is. You may well have disappeared. How did you find a vampire film last night? Not my sort of films, that vampire films. Not particularly interested in them. No, there's no particular about it. I'm not interested in them. I'm just trying to think what sort of films sort of do interest me, really. Science fiction, but I don't watch films these days. I mean, even things like the latest Star Wars film I don't really have an interest in. It's supposed to be really good as well, but right. Just so that I don't accidentally go over this whisker here, just turning the board around. Normally I want to try and keep the strokes all in the same direction, which may well be worth doing it this way, but it's easier to turn it around than it is to take the chance of going over that line by doing it at 90 degrees to this. Now the wood, I can see here, the wood grain or the rings get in on the act a little bit here. You can see a little bit of patterning arising from where they are. So I just need to do a little bit more work to smooth that out. What I may do is fade that even darker as we come out, which might be an idea. You know, I never really realised the table wobbles that much. Hopefully it's not too bad with, because I can see the camera wobbling out the corner of my eye. And I can't do much about it, I'm afraid. It's the only camera. I've got to mount the camera where it is on this table, because this table I'm stood up. I'm not sat at a desk. I'm stood up. It's a standing desk. And the desk to the left of me, which is a sitting desk, is too low to mount the camera on. Unless, of course, I sit down. I keep forgetting when I'm doing this that what I need to do is make sure I hold the tool flat, because then I employ the right hand side of the tool is hotter than the left, and if I make sure I hold it flat down, I use the left hand side as well as the right hand side as well as the left hand side, and so I get the full heat out of the tool. Now, tomorrow night I may do something different to this. Still be doing pyrography, but one of the things I want to do this year is create a Christmas card. A pyrography Christmas card. So, kind of a one-off as a Christmas card for Lady Zara. So I'm going to make, I'm hoping to make one and see if I can get it done in time for Christmas. Leopard, good evening. Welcome to the studio this evening. How are you, sir? What have you been up to this fine day? I say fine day, it's been raining here, but I want to work a bit faster, so I'm going to turn the heat up a bit. You're feeling the sunburn you got 2 days ago. Ooh, that's bad. Turning into blisters is bad. That means you really damaged your skin. A few days ago, probably last weekend I think it was, I burnt myself. I burnt the back of my finger here. On hot steam. I opened a packet that had been in the oven, and a lot of steam came out and burnt the back of my finger, and it's the past couple of days it's actually been, the top surface of the skin is peeling off. It must be quite painful as well, Laser. How did you get sunburnt anyway at this time of year? I know it's possible in snow and things, but... Oh, I'm trying to remember where you are in the world, Laser, because I know you've told me. For some reason South Africa comes to mind, but I'm not sure that's right. Yeah, I've got sunburn in Greece as well. When I'm on holiday, which coincidentally is in Greece usually, I sit under an umbrella, and I go brown, sat under the umbrella. I sit and read a book, or books, lots of them, in the shade, and I go brown. And Lady Zara lays out in the sunshine and doesn't. It annoys the wolf. It annoys her somewhat. South Africa. Oh, I've got a better memory than I thought. Yeah, it's summer there. Yeah. What did you do, Wolfie? Go to sleep or something and forget? No, Wafamaz. Wow, that's a hard name to say. Thank you very much for the follow. That's very kind of you. Nawaf. Excuse me if I said it incorrectly. It's a little bit difficult to work out to say that. It's probably really easy when you know how. Wolfie. You get some bun in the shade as well, Laser. Yeah. I get sunburn in the shade in the UK, or suntanned. I don't like getting sunburn. I never don't particularly see the point in damaging my skin and hurting for a period of time on holiday or whatever. So you went swimming without the shirt, having already got sunburn. Ooh. Now aftermath. Thank you very much. That's kind of you to indicate that. Welcome to the studio and to the stream. Studio. It's kind of I call it the studio just because it's kind of a play on words. Television studio or artist studio. So this is going to be a leopard, or is a leopard. I just decided on a whim tonight I'm going to just do the background because it's coming out of the dark. It's a nighttime representation. And if you are, don't reveal Wolfie's username because he doesn't want me to know who he is. Now half amazed. Are you another person that's prone to... We seem to be talking about sunburn this evening. Are you another one, somebody else who's prone to being sunburnt very easily? Or are you one of these people that can stay out for hours and hours and hours and nothing affects you? Now this fast, rapid scrubbing I'm doing here helps to stop me getting dark patches, and it helps create a very even tone across the area. What I'm trying to do here is, this is night, so what I want is dark, just plain dark. I don't want dark spots. Well, I don't really, I mean, might get them I guess, but what I'm looking for here is really just a dark background, uniform, no variation in it at all. Am I going to make some more gaming stuff? Yeah, I don't have any particular problem with doing that. I don't want to be doing that permanently though, Wolfie, because one of the things I have to be really careful about is copyright. So the odd piece isn't bad, but unless I sort of make something up totally fictitious. Now it's particularly a problem. Copyright is particularly a problem if I want to put any of the pieces up for sale, or indeed even broadcasting it here on Twitch is a little bit on the a little bit towards the naughty side. Ah, yeah, cats are like that. Mind you, I guess any animal's like that in a way when you're playing with them. Kind of surprised though once you started to get burnt and how it didn't. I mean, if I do get sort of slightly sunburnt and I go out in the sun, it really burns, if you know what I mean. It's really sensitive, so I'm kind of surprised you didn't feel it. Yeah, the real conversations. Oh, the good conversation. Okay. Maybe you're in the wrong stream then. Sorry, it's my sense of humour. If we do something like a Hearthstone card, if I make up the card completely myself, then I don't have a problem. Ish. There's a very slight potential issue in that the format of the cards is also part of copyright and things like that. But given that they hold competitions to design your own card, you know, please show us what you'd like your card to look like and things like that, then implicitly that gives a level of permission to actually reuse the format. So if I make something up or do something that you make up, for example, Wolfie, then we're okay. See, I can't even really claim it as fan art because I'm not a fan. But yeah, you see, you come here, not only do you get to talk about sunburn in Greece, you get to talk about, or you get to hear about copyright and fan art. Actually, technically, fan art is still copyright breaking. It's in almost every country that I know of. Yeah, some companies are like that. They are less strict, and they actually see it as a way perhaps of publicising the games, or getting people involved in the games and keeping people's interests. So I mean, they're doing it as a commercial decision, but by looking at it that way, they see value in people making up cards and popularising the game. So great. If I suddenly started selling cards for sort of £20,000 a piece, they might start asking me not to do it. Fan art is, generally speaking, art which a fan has done for themselves, but it's a few years down the line, the person no longer wants it and they then sell it, so it becomes a sold piece of art. So fan art, the fact that it started life as a fan art is no defence when it's actually the creation of the art in the first place. I keep forgetting about that. That breaks the copyright. A lot of places though are only bothered if someone starts to benefit commercially from their from their property, basically. And so even the odd piece being sold, for example, a lot of companies aren't actually that bothered about it. But if I went into business printing Hearthstone cards, for example, they'd expect me to license it from them. And it's fair enough. Somebody, they paid money to have those cards designed and stuff like that. So it's fair enough. I'm not looking to. I'm not the sort of person that says you should be able to do anything you like, because otherwise somebody comes along and goes, oh, I like that picture that you did of that line. I'm going to print 50,000 copies and sell them at £10 a piece, and you're not getting any of it. And it's kind of like, I wouldn't want that to happen to me. Okay, well, that's not bad going. As I say, these with games like that and companies like that, they recognise it as it's a way of involving the fans in the game, and everybody benefits. There are other companies out there though that are completely different. So yeah, there's nothing particularly exciting about this particular bit of pyrography. I'm not currently doing any of the fancier stuff. but we will get to that. I'm kind of, what I'm just doing is outlining the body really, because one of the things I find is that when I look at this nose, for example, I'm seeing things as because of the white contrast that's around it, I'm seeing things with the wrong shade and stuff like that. It's just the way your eyes work. It's really hard to tell how dark that is until I put stuff around it. And so what I want to do is just outline the body, so then I've got an enclosed image, and I start to see, you know, contrast with the background as I'll probably, well, I'm not that far to go when I'm doing the body. And so I'm just giving myself, I'm not going to do the whole lot now, I just want to sort of put in the basic outline and a little bit away from it, because just the outline itself, like here, is not quite wide enough to let your eye get used to what that colour actually is. What's going for? Yeah. And you see that's good customer relations as well, isn't it? I mean, you got to hear a good story, you know, a good. I won't say a good deed, but you know what I mean. It's a good outcome. League of Legends, yeah. I don't play it, so I'm not going to get that chance. Mind you, I mean, I kind of said before that I kind of play games like Train Simulator and Euro Truck Simulator and things, and the one thing that they're quite good for is you can take photographs in game, and they're actually, you know, you can set up some really sort of nice photographic type shots, and so they're really good for sort of creating, you know, if you wanted a sunset with, you know, across a road or something like that, you can set up some really nice sort of reference shots. And if you actually want to paint the trucks or the trains, then, you know, they've got quite detailed models, and they're great, again, great references that you can pose more or less how you like. Because with as an artist, you get programs like Poser, which is it's an application. Guess what? You never thought of that, would you? But in art shops you can buy like little mannequins, jointed mannequins that you can use to pose, just so that, you know, rather than using a live model, you can see if you take a pose and you pose it, say, with the arm towards you, you can see the foreshortening effect, and you can draw. You know, you can then draw muscles on it or whatever you want, but, you know, you can get the basic sort of poses like somebody, I don't know, throwing a spear or with a sword. You can pose it till you get that sort of thing, then you can draw using that as the basic reference. And you can get the same thing, electronic mannequin, if you like, that you can pose. And I think, if I remember rightly, the application comes with a number of set poses, and it's also a connected model, so when you drag the hand, for example, the elbow moves and it's constrained to only move in the right sort of direction thing. It's quite a nice program. If someone puts in effort and Okay, Wolfie, that's not a problem. Yeah, but not all game studios feel the same. Not all game studios feel the same, so. Alright, Laser, you're lurking, not a problem. This is a good channel for lurkers. You usually get a few. I do want to make this background darker, but I'm not going to do it just yet. I'm just at least giving myself this this outside edge colour reference. I haven't quite decided whether I want to take this background to complete close to black as I can get it, or I'll leave it this dark brown. Now when you're doing pyrography, you're doing something like I'm doing here, you very quickly will see areas of the wood that like the heat, are kind to you, change colour really quickly. You can see the areas of the wood that don't like you. I mean, even across here, I've been using a consistent speed all the way through, and you can see some areas which are lighter and darker than others. And that is purely because that area of the wood takes the heat a lot faster, or changes colour a lot faster. It cooks more quickly. Don't know exactly why. It must be, you know, the contents of the fibres, the liquid contents of the fibres. Perhaps more than other areas. Now if you can see that line there, you can't when it's off screen, can you? I'm working off screen. You guys have got to tell me. I keep doing that. You know what I'm going to do, I think, before long, is I'm going to lose this this edge here. Maybe just put the camera in one corner, because I keep working under that. There's a darkish line there. You can just about see it, and that is because of when I'm scrubbing, I was stopping in the same place, and I keep forgetting to remember when you do things like scrubbing, not to stop and start in the same place every time. Because if you do, that's what you get. Is you get a line. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go over this again. Scrubbing does help to try and even it out, but if you do stop and start in the same place every time, then you do get a dark edge. I just got, when I put the pen down there, that went quite dark. I happened to hit an area of the wood that took heat really quickly, and the fact that I've had the pen off the wood meant it heated up. With the pen on the wood is always conducting the heat away. I mean, that's how it cooks and goes brown like this. It's because it's absorbing the heat. So, but when I take the pen off the wood, there's nothing there to conduct the heat away. So the pen actually does heat up. When I put it down, then that heat suddenly is available to be dumped into the wood. So you get a lot of heat in a really short space of time. What then happens is the pen cools down, and as it cools down, the control unit then tries to heat it back up, and so the pen is reheated. But just for that very short period of time, it dumps a lot of heat. So now FM, I don't know if you're still around. If you are, do you do any art or crafts yourself? Oh yeah, just dropping in to see what it's all about. I'm just wondering if I'm going to do better going this way across. I don't normally like switching directions, but I'm getting a lot of endpoint, a lot of lobbing, a lot of endpoint marks that I don't actually want. And they're a little bit easier to control if I do it this way. You keep forgetting to remember. I keep remembering I've forgotten something. Actually, I've got the feeling you were quoting me there, weren't you? Okay, so I've got that edge there. I know somebody who gets quite worried about the fact that they forget things. Forgetting that everybody forgets things, and therefore it's perfectly normal. The other kitten is in the studio. He's curled up on what's his favourite chair at the moment, which is my old desk chair. He's just said over there is the chair, and just about every night now he comes in and curls up on that. So, if you want to see a pussy cat, where is he? There he is. Curled up on the chair there, that's Theo. Now you see, if I saved up enough, I'd be able to put a camera just over there. There you'd be able to watch him more. Yeah, there's quite a few people that end up. I mean, it's kind of. Actually, I saw something earlier on today. What is the difference between a friend you talk to on the internet and one you talk to on the phone? Yeah, you've had there's pen pals, for example, where has been a thing for years and years and years. You wrote to people that you didn't know and became friends. And so, you know, the internet is only just a different way of those writing to those pen pals in some ways. But yes, I mean, there's people that have met and got married over on the internet. There's I'm trying to think who it is that I watch on. I'm trying to think who it was now, but there's a sort of there's a fair few that have met and married, so it definitely happens. And they're sort of YouTubers and things like that. People who've met, say, through YouTube, 2 channels, or somebody's watched a channel and got to know the person, and eventually they've met and married. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what's happening a lot these days, isn't it? Everybody that's on the internet is one of those. And it's kind of unfortunate that some of them probably will be, but it's same thing in real life. I mean, the internet does have its dangers. You do have to be careful, especially when you're meeting people that you've talked to online, because you've got no. If you meet somebody in a club, you can see them. You can't see somebody that's just on the end of a text or the end of a phone. Instant pen pals. Yeah, it is in a way, laser. I think also what you've got is, you know, the dangers have always been there. Always been there. They are more well publicised now as well, which is a good thing. You know, it's not a bad thing that they're publicised, but more people are aware of them now. So it's kind of well, you know, it just makes people more conscious of it. So you know, they get more worried. It's there's a little bit of a feedback loop there, but it's the right thing to be concerned about and to think about. Yeah, and Wolfie, yeah. Any girl you meet is a girlfriend. I used to go along the lines of, she's a friend, she's a girl, that's a girlfriend. Yeah. He's a friend, he's a boy, it's a boyfriend. But, you know, it's the different connotations to the words. I used to do that on purpose, but... Yeah, I'm off screen again, aren't I? Oh, that looks weird upside down. Looks a bit like a domestic cat. It does look odd upside down. Let me take that up a bit. Then I'm less likely to work off it. I'm gonna lose those on the right hand side, definitely. That's partly their job, though, isn't it, Wolfie? I don't want to see anybody, well, their family come to harm, that's for sure. Now, I didn't really originally intend this side to be this dark, but it's gone that way really easily, so I've just let it because it's dark. I'm now getting a bit paranoid about whether I'm on flame or not. I guess the fact that nobody told me I was off flame means you are listening to the conversation more than you're listening to watching the video. You awake now, you Theo? No, you're gonna act cute and then curl up and go back to sleep. Now, I'm not being too bothered going down this side. I'm not being too bothered about getting a really clean edge. You know, you can actually see a rough, slight sort of curved edge, which is from the tool itself. And I've been quite happy with that because it just makes the edge not like I've taken a ruler down it. And gives it a little bit more sort of an organic, natural look. Get rid of the hair, just use some cat hairs on the wood. I don't want them around, they smell terrible. Burning hair, not very nice. One thing you've kind of got to guard against when you're doing pyrography is getting a little, and it happens to me frequently, is I get impatient with it, and I start doing things not the way I should be doing them. So, for example, if I wanted this really dark, what I should be doing is going over it multiple times, and I probably will. And you darken it down each time you go over it, and that has two. It has two effects. The wood itself doesn't shrink quite so much when that happens, and the second is by building up the colour in layers. It kind of has more depth, which is a kind of a little bit of a difficult concept to sort of explain what I mean by that, but if I was talking about polish, for example, a polished table, or something polished. When I talk about depth, it literally means that it looks like it's covered in a surface, a layer of water, and the water is deep. The more shine, the more depth, the deeper the varnishing looks, or the polishing looks. With multiple layers of colour on here, it actually makes the blacks look deeper, and it actually looks like the wood sort of is black. If you try and do it really, really fast, it sort of sits on the surface and partly goes a different funny sort of colour, but it also sort of looks like it's just set on the surface. It doesn't look like it's really deep. It looks like you just sort of dropped some paint on top or something. It doesn't have the same pyrographic look, and it's kind of very easy to get. You know, I'm going to do the whole of this board and the outside of this board, and it's going to be really tempting to just whack the heat up and you know, try and do it in about 4 seconds flat. But it will not be as good an effect if I do that. Well, of course, the other thing I could do is I could get out a little gas soldering iron I've got. If I take the tip off of it, it's a gas flame, and I can actually use that. But it actually produces that very same "I've done this very fast" look. So of being sort of shiny, it's kind of mattish. Here's pyrography. When you've applied, you know, gone black really dark really quickly, it does kind of have this sort of matte rather than shiny appearance. And that is almost certainly because of carbonization. What you've done is you've actually sort of changed the wood into carbon, and that's it's like a crystal, but it's generally sort of a matte look. What's happening here is this is kind of getting a varnish or a glaze on it. So as I'm cooking the wood, a little bit of liquid which is being cooked and changing colour is sitting over the top, rather like a varnish, and therefore it's shiny. And provided I don't don't carbonize the wood, it stays shiny. And for some reason it looks better that way. What are we now? past. Okay. I think what I'm going to do at this point is just I might as well do a little bit more of the background. Now I was scrubbing that side, but for some reason I seem to be working really smoothly tonight. So I'm going to do this using normal strokes rather than scrubbing it. Because here it's going on really nicely. when the pyrography is going really well, it's very much like the colour is just appearing out of the nib of the pen that you're using. A bit like I'm using a sort of coloured marker. I got a black spot then because I keep forgetting that having the pen off the wood for a period of time heats it up. You know, I've been doing this several years now. You'd think I'd know that you know it by now. Maybe I'll learn it in a few years' time. It has a kind of you can almost get lost in doing something like this. You just forget in time, just disappears. I'm now starting to work off frame again, aren't I? You know what I'm going to do, because I keep doing this, at least for tonight anyway. I'm going to do that. There we go. Now I've got a lot more space on the right hand side of the frame. I'm just thinking that I'm concentrating so much that I don't even feel the need to put my tongue out. I wonder what it is about concentration that makes you want to put your tongue out. What evolutionary advantage was there in the past from putting your tongue out when you're concentrating on something and trying to get something you know, really sort of detailed or whatever it is done? Because it kind of has to be something like that for it to sort of be ingrained in so many people. What I could do with is a small screen, just you know, I don't know what sort of size, just up here, just above the camera, on either side of the drawing board here, with the chat window in it. because at the moment it's over there, and slightly behind the drawing board. So I kind of actually have to keep looking over to see if anybody's said anything. Well, we are now, what, 6-7 days away from being Christmas Day. Or for those of you that celebrate on the evening of the 24th, 6 days away before it arrives, I guess. Is everybody ready for Christmas? Everything prepared? I'm not doing too bad. I have a little bit more shopping to do. But very little. No presents wrapped yet. But that shouldn't take too long for me to do. And then the only shopping I've got left to do after that is food shopping, so I can make the Christmas meal. And I don't know about other countries, but UK wise it's kind of traditional to have turkey with what we call all the trimmings. But effectively that's roast potatoes and mashed potatoes and boiled potatoes, and then vegetables like sprouts and cauliflower and broccoli, carrots and peas. And you'd also have Yorkshire puddings with gravy. Yorkshire puddings are called that, by the way, because they were invented in Yorkshire, County of the White Rose in the UK. And Yorkshire puddings, by the way, were invented, or their purpose when they were first around was to stop you eating so much meat. Flour and eggs, which go into making Yorkshire puddings, were more plentiful and cheaper than meat is. And so, whilst these days you often have Yorkshire pudding as part of the main course, Yorkshire pudding used to be the first course. Yorkshire pudding and gravy, meat juices basically. And that would be the first course. The intent of that is to fill you up, so when you came to the next course you didn't want as much of it, so the meat, you didn't need as much meat, which was expensive stuff. And Yorkshiremen have this archetypal reputation of not spending money. In fact, what they used to, one of the phrases is, the definition of a Yorkshireman is a tight-fisted Scotsman. Because the Scots are reputed to be really, by reputation, they are really careful with their money. And a Yorkshireman is even more. Why call it pudding though? That I don't actually know. But I might. One of my guesses is there's another dough type mixture, which is dumplings, which is effectively boiled, which is a similar sort of mix. It's a pudding mix. It's probably the style, you know, that sort of when it's first made, it's sort of slightly gloopy type of thing. Because a pudding isn't necessarily a sweet thing. which everybody potentially thinks of them as these days, but I think it refers more to, the pudding refers more to the style, the mix, the pre-cooked thing. I'm trying to think now. There's historically as well. I mean, I'm thinking of Pudding Lane in London, but there was in sort of Victorian-ish times, puddings were different things as well. Pudding wasn't the sweet part of the meal. I may have to have a look that up and see if I can find out why. Yeah, so if you want to have authentic Yorkshire puddings, you have them by themselves as a course, not as part of another course. Now, true Yorkshire pudding is a big thing, by the way. I know you get these little tiny things, because it's Yorkshire pudding. It's the same mix. It's just made in smaller. They make them in bun tins, but they're usually made in a big tin. It would be like a roasting tin, and a great big. It'd be sliced up and cut. So an authentic Yorkshire pudding is a great big. Probably about at least that sort of size of this piece of wood, if not larger, and it would be sliced and cut up for the participants of the meal. Now, little individual ones, or medium, largish individual ones, is a more modern construct. It's probably because people don't like sharing these days. It's mine. It's all mine. And if anybody's ever had Yorkshire pudding, it's something like onion gravy. It seems to be something that everybody likes in it. It is quite a nice sort of meal. I was just wondering then how my mind got on to talking about Yorkshire puddings. Of course, I was talking about Christmas meals. Well, I was talking about buying the food for it. Do you know, Lisa, what's traditional in South Africa for the Christmas meal? I mean, I know countries that have a similar. There are countries that have a similar meal to us in the UK, but would use things like goose instead of turkey, for example. A local bird of some kind. At the moment, it kind of has a teddy bearish sort of look with those ears. I'm spinning this around, as you'll see me do quite a lot when I'm working. The main reason for doing it at the moment is purely because it's easier to get at this particular areas of the wood by spinning it around. But often when I'm working, one of the reasons I'll spin it around, especially if I'm working in a particular area like say the nose, is I'm doing it just to get a different perspective on what it looks like. When you look at something, you're concentrating on a particular area of a drawing or a picture for a long period of time, your eyes start to get used to seeing what might be considered the flaws, stuff that you'd want to correct, and you stop seeing it. And it's only when you have a fresh look by going away for a day and coming back, would you sort of look at something and go, how on earth could I manage to do that? Why didn't I see that and fix it? And so one of the tricks that artists do to avoid that is they flip the work in some way, upside down, right angles, back to front, invert it. Because then by doing that, those things that you would want to fix jump out at you a lot more. It's a new perspective, so you're looking at it is a brand new picture almost, and you don't actually have to go away for 24 hours to come back and have a look. You don't have a traditional, except it's traditional to cook as much of it as you can. Okay. Barbecue is I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but yeah, in celebration of anything, yeah. A lot of hot countries do seem to have, countries that can celebrate outdoors, or hold their celebrations outdoors, do seem to use barbecues a lot. And the Australians have the reputation of using barbecues a lot. Whether they actually do or not, I don't know. But reputation and fact are not always the same thing. Barbecuing is a UK summertime pastime on the odd occasions when it's actually sunny. Which of course is a lot more than we like to pretend it is. it's kind of interesting. The one of the, in quotes, traditional foods of the UK is fish and chips. I'm sure it's something you're potentially familiar with. But these days, in that sort of takeaway type tradition, Indian cookery is becoming more English than fish and chips is. There's you know, it's getting to be the most popular takeaway food. You have a traditional pudding of sorts, a Malva pudding. Malva's a word I know, and I'm trying to think why. Because of the fruit, but baked dessert. Okay, so I'm looking at some really nice pictures that are making me. Actually, I've got a chocolate pudding to have after. I'm looking at this camera up here, which you're not seeing me look at because I've turned it off. Or I'm not showing it. Yeah, I've got a chocolate pudding to have after the stream. Yeah, it's something. It actually looks very similar to what I would call in the UK treacle pudding, which is generally made with syrup, golden syrup, as we describe it as. But it looks like a very similar sort of mixture. Although we don't add lemon. But butter, yeah. Oh, vinegar as well. You add. Interesting. I suppose that produces a nice sort of background zing to it together with the lemon. Malva short for mallow. Oh, okay. That's interesting because I mean marshmallows wouldn't think well like that because mallow, same thing. Yeah, maybe it does. Serve warm. Yeah, I can understand that being warm. And interestingly, treacle pudding. We serve. Oh, we either serve with cream usually, or it'd be smothered in hot golden syrup, but either with a fairly thickish but liquid cream, or vanilla ice cream. Never thought of vinegar though. So yeah, so I guess sugar pudding really. Oh yeah, fresh cream you're doing, yeah. I'm looking at a recipe here which says for the sauce, 3/4 of a cup of fresh cream with butter and sugar and vanilla essence, yeah. Yeah, that looks really delicious, Laser. It looks really delicious. Of course, Christmas UK pudding is, of course, the Christmas pudding, which is a dark, thick pudding with sometimes with fruit in it. It's a little bit of a throw in whatever you've got type of pudding. But it's a really heavy, thick pudding, often with alcohol, usually sherry, soaked into it. And traditionally, one of the things you do with the Christmas pudding is it's on its serving bowl. You pour something like, well, an alcohol of it, like whiskey for example, and then you set fire to it and bring it into a darkened room, and you've got to be careful because alcohol burns with a almost invisible bluish flame, So you got to be careful. It goes out fairly quickly because there's not a lot, unless you put a real lot of alcohol there. But part of what that does is it leaves the flavour of the alcohol behind without actually having the alcohol there. And often the pudding has been soaked for quite some time in alcohol as well, or with alcohol. Although it's cooked, it's boiled usually. It's cooked wrapped in boiling water, so it's not boiled, but it's cooked at 100 degrees, I suppose, in a moist atmosphere. Or vice versa, these things. I mean, to some extent, sugar would have originally would have been cane sugar. So it wouldn't surprise me, places like South Africa, which are easier. It's easier to make the cane sugar. It wouldn't actually surprise me if that was perhaps the origin of that sort of thing, where a lot of sugar is used. But yes, it's hard to tell sometimes. Or it could just be something that we've independently arrived at. I doubt it, but these sorts of things are usually invented in some place and then they may be reinvented somewhere else because you go home and you go, I had this thing while I was out there. It had lots of sugar in it and maybe ginger or whatever, and people start making up their own recipes for something that they've experienced elsewhere, in sort of historical figures type of thing, I mean, these days they just buy it from wherever the country was. Wonder what context I've heard Malva in before. It certainly didn't surprise me to find out what it was. I didn't know what it was, but it didn't surprise me. Oh dear. Hopefully it recovers. Right, let's put sound. Okay, let's just put a little bit more across the top here. Now this side of the wood is different to that side of the wood in terms of the way it's taking the heat. This side of the wood is a lot more resistant to the heat. And it's part of every picture that you do in pyrography is learning, well, basically learning and or reacting to the wood. And that's where, if you're after sort of smooth colours, where a lot of the skill comes in, is reacting to the wood and keeping that consistent colour that you're after. I'm not as good at it as I'd like to be, but I'm getting there. It really is just sort of practice. Like most things, of course, practice is practice is practice, and the more you practice, the better you get at it. And often it's a case of reacting on the fly as you're doing things, to, you know, seeing that it's not coming out exactly as you want it to do, and varying your speed as you work, because that's effectively the only way you've got of controlling temperature, or rather controlling the quantity of heat. Pyrography isn't so much about temperature, it's about quantity of heat, which is heat times time. Small amount of heat for a long time is effectively the same in pyrographic terms as a lot of heat for a short period of time. Right, so that's sort of achieved the objective for this evening, which was to outline the leopard. So what I'm going to do now is switch back to that view. Hello, I'm back. So we've achieved the objective, which was to outline the leopard, and that will help in me specifically with colour perception, or tonal values, it gets called, perception, as I'm working on this, so that I get sort of the right levels of light and dark. I may actually have to darken this again, because that's the sort of darkness around here. That sort of darkness level, or this one, is what I want for the whole of the background, I think. I was thinking about doing it slightly lighter like this, so that the black areas of like the ears sort of stand out a little bit more, but I think I like the darker bit. It's more in keeping with it out of the dark, that dramatic sort of thing, and this coming towards you out of the dark would be quite dramatic. And I suppose in the wild areas, yeah, the African savannah and things like that, that would be quite a dramatic thing to have appear. As I'm looking at it at the moment, those eyes don't look right, but once I get the rest of the face, or they don't look right to me, but when I get the rest of the face in, it's going to look like it's got its head down slightly, as it would do if it was walking, and it's looking slightly through the tops of the eyelids. Oh yeah, like that. I'm looking over the top of my glasses, but as opposed to looking sort of more down its muzzle at you with its head up, it's down. Yeah, that's already looking a lot better than it did when I started this evening, even though I haven't actually done any of the main work on the leopard at all. But that's for another stream. This is a long job because it's going to be full of hair. Then each hair is well, not in practice, but each hair is an individual stroke of a very fine pen, and it's not shading, it's individual hair strokes, and there's going to be a lot on there. I know the smaller plaques I do for they're done for the cats, they're 10 hours, and there's lots of hair on a cat. This is bigger. What I could do with this, I could almost do with a non-slip mat underneath the back of this, but I want to spin it, and the non-slip mat doesn't work when you're spinning things. So that's going to be it for this evening, though, with that dramatic picture. Hopefully, and I expect to be on again tomorrow evening. I will be starting as close to 7 PM UK time as I can manage, but between 7 and 8 PM UK time, that's GMT at the moment, where we will carry on with more of this leopard. In the meantime, I'll just remind everybody we've got the blue box full of the URLs down there at the bottom. Check some of them out. The shop I think is particularly good, although I will be saying now that there is no way of delivering any item for Christmas. It's just the postage is just not going to be reliable, so sorry about that, but that's just the way the postal systems are. And YouTube, if you would like to see the complete available history of this channel, all recordings, some 800 hours of recording. 800 hours? Yeah, something like about 800 hours of recording. There's over 3/4 of a terabyte of video, and at a gigabyte per hour, that's about 800 hours. That's a lot of time. Wow. Since I became an associate, I've only broadcast about 150 hours so far. So there's a lot before then. But it's all available in real time. As time allows, I will try and get time lapse of some of the things like the pyrography and the carving, so you can watch it all in about 20 minutes rather than about 40 hours. But if you want to see it, well, chat and everything else, that, you know, the voice, etc., then they are available there to peruse at your leisure. They're also all in, well, most of them are in series, collections. I can't remember what YouTube calls them, but you can, you know, if you want to see Amber the Owl carved, there is a series for Amber the Owl. So check them out if you want, if you're interested. And I'll of course got to say there's 3 buttons up there. Take a look at them. Follow if you're not following, that would be absolutely fantastic. Helps the channel out. Gets us more knowledge, more people joining. Subscriptions if you'd love. I'd love you to consider subscriptions. It helps the channel. Helps to buy wood, pyrography pens, carving bits, knife blades, all these sorts of things. And maybe a third camera so we can get a different perspective on things. Or even on the pussycat, which is still laid over there, asleep. But with that, I'm going to say again, thank you for watching. Wolfie, thank you for watching. Laser, thank you for watching. Anybody else who's still around, I shall indeed. Yeah, I'll cuddle him. I'll disturb him at some point. I'll get myself a drink and the chocolate pudding first. With that, thank you for watching. Hope to see you on the next stream. Bye for now.